Tonight, a surprise visit, a warm welcome, as the Arab League Summit kicks off today to discuss regional and international security and calls for real change in both public and private sectors after an assault of a woman confronting racism. Later in the show, the plight of Palestinian children in Israeli jails. Tazeen Hassan from Justice for All Canada talks about the situation.
They are denied fair trial. There are forced convictions, forced confessions.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Catherine Bullock, sitting in for Saamiyah Syed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Saudi Arabia today, attending the Arab League Summit. The summit is also being attended by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, who is a close Russian ally. Syria was recently readmitted to the Arab League. Zelensky's unannounced visit is his first to the Middle East since Moscow's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. His address is viewed by experts as an opportunity for the Ukrainian president to address leaders in a region that has been far less united in its support of Kyiv than have Western allies. An Arab League official told a media source that Zelensky's invitation came from Saudi Arabia, not the bloc. While speaking at the summit, Zelensky has accused some Arab leaders of ignoring the horrors of Russia's invasion of his country. Waterloo police have charged Wednesday a woman for assaulting a Muslim woman in hijab at a drive test centre in Kitchener, Ontario. They are calling it a hate-motivated incident. The arrest comes after the Coalition of Muslim Women of Kitchener-Waterloo posted the incident on Twitter. The assault happened to one of their own staff members, Mifra Abid, who captured the incident on her phone. Abid confronted a woman who made racist comments about brown people at the centre. She says she asked the woman not to be rude. The woman then assaulted her. The Muslim Women's Group says the incident calls for inclusivity training for all sectors that serve the community. A disturbing video of Quran desecration in Edmonton is circulating on social media. The National Council of Canadian Muslims, or NCCM, is calling the incident deeply concerning. The video shows a man walking up to two men who have set up a stall in front of a plaza with copies of the Quran. It seems the two men are spreading awareness about Islam. The man talks briefly with them. He then pours his drink on the books on the stall before walking away. The NCCM says they are in touch with local authorities. They are calling for witnesses to come forward. Protesters have taken to the streets in Japan. They are in Hiroshima, demonstrating against the G7 summit and globalization. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio is hosting the summit, which kicked off today. Attendees started with a visit to the Hiroshima Museum. The museum commemorates the world's first nuclear attack carried out by the US in 1945. The police have tightened security measures in the city. Japan has hosted 6 G7 summits so far. Please stay tuned. We will join you after a short break. Palestinians have just commemorated on May 15th, Nakba Day. Nakba Day means the day of catastrophe for Palestinians, when in 1948, 700,000 Palestinians were pushed out and Israel declared itself a nation state. Today, we want to spotlight the effect of the occupation on Palestinian children, especially those in prison. Save the Children says that each year approximately 500 to 700 Palestinian children are detained and prosecuted in the Israeli military court system. The most common charge is stone throwing, for which the maximum sentence is 20 years. To talk about the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, we are joined now by Tazeen Hassan from the advocacy organisation Justice for All Canada. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Walaikum assalam, Kathy, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Anyone who watches our show regularly will recognise you as the person who talks to us about the Save Kashmir campaign. But today you're not coming to us with that hat on. You're coming to us with the hat on of the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign that you run. So do you just want to share with us what that campaign is all about?
Let me tell you that Kashmir and Palestine are nothing but the tale of two occupations, two settler colonizations, two genocides. So last year, I was given the task of developing the Palestinian Children Campaign, Palestinian children who are imprisoned under the Israeli military detention system.
And why would Justice for All decide to take that on?
We believe that you all know that we have already done some interviews regarding the Prisoner of Conscience campaign. So Palestinian children are also detained because of the religious persecution. I mean, they are also the prisoner of their conscience, if you see.
Well, the latest figures I have are that there are 119 children being held in Israeli jails. And this is up to date. The latest figures that I could get were for up to September 2022.
Exactly. Bethesleem actually mentioned that their website mentioned Bethesleem is a human rights advocacy organization working for Palestinian children on ground. And they mentioned that after September 2022, I think Israel Israeli government actually refrained publishing the statistics. So we don't have the current statistics, but only in 2021, more than 500 children, I think, were detained.
Well, the statistics that I quoted at the beginning from that organization called Save the Children has done a research interviewing Palestinian children. I mean, they were in their adulthood, but they interviewed them about what it was like in jail when they were children, and the conditions sounded just horrific. Can you share, or are you aware of what it's like in jail for the children?
Save the Children has been doing wonderful. I mean, while developing the campaign, I talked to the primary victims in the West Bank in Palestine. And I also consulted all the reports of DCIP, Save the Children, United Nations reports, UNICEF reports, Amnesty International reports. So the statistics are horrifying, as you are telling me. And, the statistics are also very, there are certain problems in the statistics because Israeli government doesn't publish all these. Many of the children who are interrogated and held for 1 day or 2 days, the statistics doesn't show them. Although, brutalities are there and there are psychological impact on the children. Children are most of the children, since 1967, according to the statistics published by the human rights advocacy organizations on the ground, 20,000 children have been prosecuted, but they don't show the real picture because there are many, many children who are just stopped at the checkpoints and they spent hours and hours at the checkpoint while the Israeli soldiers are interrogating. So the other children are those there are children who are arrested at the end of the school gate. There are raids at night after midnight. The children are sleep deprived. They are not given food and water for 24 hours. Sometimes these are arbitrary detentions. Sometimes,
and it just sounds the summary that Save the Children gave of what it was like in the jail, based on the interviews they did, it just sounds awful. Like there was one young woman who was talking about they were teenagers, they were in a room meant to sleep 2, but there were 5 of them. Can you just share a little bit more about what it's actually like once they're in the jail cell?
Everything is horrific. It's really hard to talk about them. I think it will be enough to say that Israel is the only country who interrogate, prosecute children, Palestinian children, under military detention system, under military prosecution system. This is horrific, if you see. And all these organizations, United Nations, UNICEF, Save the Children, DCIP, and other organizations have actually, they are not given medical treatment. They are denied education, proper education rights. Students say that they only learn Hebrew there. And then when they come back, I mean, there are psychological effects. After they come back, they don't get enough food. They are sleep deprived. Many of the children mentioned sleep deprived, beatings, torture. When they are interrogated, they do not have any legal assistance. Their parents are not present there, although Israel is the signatory of all the United Nations treaties regarding the children, imprisoned children. Article 37, Article 40 of the right of the children. Israel is the signatory of that. Then there is International Covenant for Civil and Political. It also emphasizes treating children with dignity. But what happens is, they are denied fair trial. There are forced convictions, forced confessions, and then convictions over that. Sometimes there is no trial in 15 months. This is prolonged arbitrary prolonged detention.
And this would be bad enough for an adult, but we're talking here about young people between the ages of 12 and 17. How come there's not an outcry in the world? That probably sounds like a naive question, but
actually there are various reports. I believe that researchers have done marvelous work regarding this, but yeah, you're right that there is no outcry, and that's why Justice for All has taken this issue, that we want to raise voice in Canada and in the United States regarding
how
this.
are you going about that?
In the United States, there are some congressmen who are working on some bills regarding them, especially trying to stop the aid to Israeli government, the American aid to Israeli government, and that's what we want to do here in Canada too.
So is that the main plank of your campaign, the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, to get Canada to stop aid to Israel?
This is one way, Sister Kathy. Sanctions is one way. Stopping the aid to Israel is one way. Definitely, if you see the larger problem, that is the occupation. These are the sub-problems if we see that what is happening with the Palestinian children. I mean, one of the problem is the killing of Palestinian children. Each month, if you see, every now and then you will see that there is a child who is shot dead during the raid, or from the bombardment, we see scores of children are dying. Even this week, you know what happened in Gaza and West Bank. So definitely we would like to convince Canadian government, we would like to demand Canadian government to stop the aid to Israel, because this is the Western aid to Israel actually that is giving Israel the leverage to perform all these brutalities with Palestinian children.
It seems that the Palestinian children are a forgotten group amongst an overlooked group. The social media campaign, social media users have been criticizing the way the media has been reporting the recent Israeli attacks on Gaza, where they would emphasize, that they killed Islamic Jihad militants, but don't mention that Israeli army has also been killing the Palestinian children.
Israeli, yeah, you're right. You're right that sometimes we see every now and then on social media, on Twitter, but you are right that international media is not talking about that. I mean, last year I was attending my convocation grad ceremony at Harvard, and the person they invited was a former judge of Supreme Court of United States, and he only talked about the Holocaust. He did not talk about what is happening right now in Palestine, what is happening with Palestinian children. These things are not. This is a Holocaust of Palestinians, if we see. But
so we're out of time, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll check in with you again to get an update on your campaign. Thanks for joining us today. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Sister Kathy. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for watching. We need your support for donations. Please go to our website, muslimnetwork.tv, or scan the QR code on the broadcast so that we can continue this important work of amplifying the voices of the unheard. Assalamu alaikum.